Welcome back everybody to KENAN TV. In today's video, I would like to talk about the only way the Notorious Conor McGregor could defeat the Eagle Khabib Nurmagomedov. With McGregor's much anticipated return set to be on January 18th against Donald Cowboy Cerrone, one can only assume how the fight could go. However though, assuming the best for McGregor, it would mean a victory in his favor. Now, moving away from that victory and looking into the future of 2020, there is also a supposed fight lined up in Conor McGregor's eyes between he himself and the undefeated champion. For McGregor, that would be the only true obstacle left for him to overcome in his career. Other than defeating Khabib, I don't really think there is anything left for McGregor to do in the sport. Potentially maybe go up and fight for the 170-pound division, even though that may be a big stretch. If you take a look at Conor McGregor in terms of a movie, the 170-pound division just seems like a sidetracking of what the main objective would always be: defeating and becoming, once again, the 155-pound world champion. So, if we're going to assume that Khabib Nurmagomedov is going to defeat Tony Ferguson in their respective title fights, we then have to take a look at how Conor McGregor could defeat Khabib Nurmagomedov. And in my opinion, the chances of Conor McGregor defeating Khabib are not going to be that high. However though, all Conor McGregor needs is that one shot, and if he can make the most out of that one shot, he has a chance to reclaim his throne and become once again the best at 155. So let us right now take a closer look at the only way Conor McGregor could defeat Khabib. You see, at this point, there is not really a big emphasis on beating on a dead horse at this point, right? We just know already what Conor McGregor didn't do well. But we never really talk about what Khabib Nurmagomedov did well. Obviously, other than him taking him down and doing what Khabib likes to do best, we have to take a closer look at what Khabib was able to do better than what people had expected from him going into their fights. To start things off, we have to take a look at the fighter that Khabib is by nature in terms of defensive stand-up fighting. He is a fighter who always likes to be light on his feet, move around, never be stationary. Khabib, in terms of skill, he is not going to be a fighter to compete with most of the strikers in his division. He knows this. So for him to be a stationary target, like for example Eddie Alvarez was just not going to be in his favor at all against Conor McGregor. So, from the opening of the fight, what he did was immediately employ lateral movement, light on his feet, bounce around, and not come at Conor McGregor. You see, there is this big emphasis on this idea that people always throw out there that says, if the Conor McGregor that showed up against Eddie Alvarez fought Khabib, we would have had a different fight. Well, maybe sure, but I believe it wasn't so much the Conor McGregor that showed up against Eddie Alvarez that was the main factor, but just Eddie Alvarez himself. If you take a look at Eddie Alvarez, he was a fighter who just approached him very linearly, come forward and go backwards. Other than that, he did not employ sideways movement, he wasn't light on his feet, he did not bounce around, and he was just pretty much a stationary target for Conor McGregor to pick at from the medium to long range, teep kicking his body, jabbing, keeping the distance, controlling the hands, having dominant jab positioning, right? All of these things are there because Eddie Alvarez was just there to be hit. He was not moving around. Khabib was always moving around. He was always doing what he always knew would play in his own favor. The second Khabib would just take that first step forward and initiate the first strike at a fresh Conor McGregor, he knows that Conor McGregor is going to be fresh enough to quickly counter and capitalize on that. That is why you never saw Khabib engage. From the opening of the fight, he didn't even throw a single strike in the stand-up department. The first round, he went without throwing one single strike in the stand-up department. It was just looking for a way into shooting for the takedown. That was it. And that was exactly what took the power away from Conor McGregor's striking. Conor, he is a great counter puncher. He is not going to go out of his way to force a strike, and he's not really that good at doing that. Conor McGregor, he's very good at coming forward, obviously, baiting a reaction and countering that. He is not really a fighter that will just come forward and just maul the opponent just by cracking them to the body, head strikes, everything. Yes, even though he can do that, but we know that the most effective Conor McGregor comes when he is countering, when he is in that groove of just being in the opponent's head and knowing when he will strike and then boom, coming in there to crack him that way. For example, if we're going to take a look at Conor McGregor versus Dennis Siver was pretty much much doing what Khabib was doing, just on the outside and moving around. Even though Dennis Seaver had virtually no success against him, he was still avoiding getting knocked out cleanly in that fight. He was always on the outside moving, and Conor was just having a field day with him. I mean, just beautiful head kicks, left straights down the pipe, everything, just flying knees. He was just looking so clean and so brilliant. But he did not get the immediate knockouts. And against Khabib Nurmagomedov, who is a bigger fighter, right? Imagine this. If you're going to go into a fight with Conor McGregor and you don't take a bait and you just bounce around, move around the entirety of the fight, you somewhat guarantee yourself to not really take and fall for a Conor McGregor counter. However though, this is exactly where Conor McGregor can then start to gain some traction and start winning these sequences. Because you may think, okay, if Khabib is doing what he did in the first fight and just replicates that in the second fight, he should have success once again. Yes, 100% he should have success once again, up until to a point where he stops getting his takedowns, which is very hard to imagine. But a victory for Conor McGregor lies just 100% with the fact that he has to avoid getting taken down. And this is not as crazy as it sounds, because if Conor McGregor can knock out Khabib in the first round, then one can say that Conor McGregor avoided getting taken down all fight long, right? So for Conor McGregor, this fight has to end by way of knockout, and it has to happen early. Now, coming back to the defensive game plan of Khabib, at some point he is going to be finding himself in a position where he has displayed all of his skills, all of his tricks, everything that he utilizes to fight Conor McGregor. And in terms of defense, that is really, I believe in my opinion, for Conor McGregor, easy to figure out after 2 minutes. Just having himself out there for 2 minutes and not get taken down is really going to be the key factor to solving Khabib Nurmagomedov's movement and way of defending himself. Now, in those 2 minutes, Conor McGregor has to still come forward like he always does, but this time around, like he was against Eddie Alvarez, he has to remain patient, calm, don't overthrow. One thing that Conor McGregor did very well in the Eddie Alvarez fight that he didn't do against Khabib was throwing strikes that were not overextended. Every strike that Conor threw at Eddie Alvarez was very calculated. It was just at the end of his reach, and if he just didn't come and reach, he would simply just step in. He wouldn't really jump in. He wouldn't really just overthrow. He wouldn't really do a Superman punch. He wouldn't throw a forced flying knee. He wouldn't go for a telegraphed left high kick. He wouldn't do these things. And when people say that if the Conor McGregor that showed up against Eddie Alvarez showed up against Khabib, okay, that one aspect is very true. The Conor McGregor that is patient and doesn't overthrow will most certainly have a lot more success against Khabib, and that is the Conor McGregor that we need to see. But it isn't as easy to employ that game plan that you did against Eddie Alvarez to Khabib, because Khabib is moving very light on his feet and he himself is very fast and powerful. And in the rematch, Conor McGregor will be very aware of this. Maybe psychologically he will be already in a phase where, oh my god, I got hit with that flying knee, I better not get hit with it again. You never know. Conor never got dropped. Who knows how that will play mentally with him. However though, this cannot really faze him. He still has to come forward, he still has to pop the jab, he still has to go to the body, the teep kicks, like he did in the third round against Khabib. Go to the body shots, take the air out of his lungs. Do what you did against Chad Mendes once again. First of all, primarily targeting the body, take the air out of the wrestler. As you take the air out of the wrestler, if the wrestler shoots in on you, you can see it coming. And we know that Khabib Nurmagomedov likes to be on the outside from the get-go if the opponent is pushing him. We can only imagine that Conor McGregor, as the offensive-minded forward-coming fighter that he is, that he will once again back Khabib up. But this time around, he will have a lot more breathing room. He can take in a breath, he can be relaxed, he can just see everything coming at him. And at that point, if Conor McGregor sees the takedown coming at him, I am 100% sure that he could stuff that takedown. And from there, he has to start looking for the finish. He has to immediately look for the finish, because the longer the fight goes on, I am 100% sure that Khabib will find a way that he will adapt himself, that he will get a feel for Conor McGregor and what he likes to do, and start just desperately or very forcefully look for that takedown as he did in the first round. Just immediately shoot for the double leg. And if he can get a hold of Conor McGregor, at some point it is going to be a wrap and we will just see a repeat of the first fight. So for Conor McGregor, keep Khabib backed up. As he then shoots in with his back up against the cage, it is a bit more telegraphed, you can see it coming, and then start building up to the ending sequence, then go to the body, then make him desperate, because Khabib has never really been hit more than maybe once or twice cleanly in one sequence, right? If Conor McGregor can hit him in the face 1-2 times, feint him, make him a bit anxious, because Khabib is that kind of a striker. He's a bit anxious, he's always very tense, he never really likes to be in that stand-up department, stand-up game, unless he's controlling it like he did against Ali Quinta. But he's not going to be controlling the stand-up department, especially the range, if he's fighting Conor McGregor. However though, Conor can't get too cocky with his own striking skills, as Khabib is a very strong guy. He is taller than Conor. He is going to be probably heavier than Conor. He is going to have, I would have to say, more explosive power and more explosive speed than Conor. So Conor has to look out for those shots, because I am personally, in my opinion, the way that Khabib throws shots, as awkward as he is, as many people like to bash his striking, I always remember the saying that Bruce Lee once said, no technique is the best technique sometimes. Because you can teach a fighter to throw a jab, straight hook, but you can't teach a fighter to throw the eagle punch, to throw the Khabib Nurmagomedov overhand right. You can't teach these things, and because of that, it carries an element of surprise. And no matter how good Conor McGregor may be in the stand-up department, you just can't prepare for a fighter you just can't prepare for. So because of all of this, I would have to assume that Conor McGregor has to make the most out of the moments he has in the stand-up department. If he doesn't, then unfortunately I will have to believe that the cardio, size, speed, just the prime peak that Khabib currently is in will start to bring themselves back into the game, and he will then start to dominate the fight up until whenever the fight happens to end. But before that moment, if there is one fighter in the division to knock Khabib out, it is most certainly Conor McGregor. I don't believe Tony Ferguson can do it. I didn't believe Dustin Poirier could do it. I like Quinta, Barboza, none of those guys. In my opinion, if there is one man to knock Khabib out, it is most certainly going to be Conor McGregor. He has his own skills, Conor, and Khabib has his own. In the post-fight reaction for Conor McGregor, he said that he was a bit too defensive-minded and he was a bit too mindful of what Khabib likes to do. So right now I am assuming that Conor McGregor is going to worry about what he can do to Khabib and make Khabib react to him. And because of that, I believe that this is the only way Conor McGregor could defeat Khabib, the Eagle Nurmagomedov. But in time, we shall all know the truth. For now, these are only speculations and what I can only imagine. What do you guys think though? Leave it all in the comment section down below. As always, in the end, only time will tell what will truly happen. For now, I have been Kenan from KENAN KTV, signing off. Later.